Welcome to the ultimate Henry VIII quiz. From his 6 marriages to the political upheavals of the Tudor era, we've crafted a quiz that delves into the complexities of Henry VIII's life and legacy. This beginner edition features multiple choice questions and provides concise explanations to help you learn more about Henry VIII's life and reign. For those looking for an even greater challenge, check out our expert edition. Ready to test your skills? Let's go! Who was the father of Henry VIII? The correct answer is Henry VII. Henry VII was the father of Henry VIII and the founder of the Tudor dynasty. He became king in 1485 after defeating Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth Field, ending the Wars of the Roses. Who was Henry VIII's mother? The correct answer is Elizabeth of York. Elizabeth of York married Henry VII on January 18, 1486, uniting the houses of York and Lancaster after the Wars of the Roses. This marriage symbolized the end of decades of civil war and the beginning of the Tudor dynasty. How many of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York's children survived infancy? The correct answer is 4. Henry VII and Elizabeth of York had 7 children, but only 4 survived infancy, 2 boys and 2 girls. These surviving children played significant roles in the Tudor dynasty and its alliances. What was the name of Henry VIII's older brother and heir to the throne? The correct answer is Arthur. Arthur, Prince of Wales, was the eldest son of Henry VII and Elizabeth of York and the heir to the throne. He was named after the legendary King Arthur, reflecting the Tudors' effort to link their dynasty to England's heroic past. Henry VII arranged the marriage between his son, Prince Arthur, and Catherine of Aragon when Arthur was just a child. In which treaty was this arrangement formalized? The correct answer is Treaty of Medina del Campo. The marriage between Prince Arthur and Catherine of Aragon was formalized in the Treaty of Medina del Campo in 1489. This treaty strengthened the alliance between England and Spain, 2 of Europe's most powerful kingdoms at the time. When was Henry VIII born? The correct answer is 1491. Henry VIII was born on June 28, 1491, at the Palace of Placentia in Greenwich. Although he was not the heir, which important title did Henry receive at the age of 3? The correct answer is Duke of York. At the age of 3, Henry was granted the title of Duke of York on October 31, 1494. This title was a significant position for a young prince, even though he was not the heir at that time. How old was Arthur, Prince of Wales, when he married Catherine of Aragon? The correct answer is 15. Arthur, Prince of Wales, married Catherine of Aragon on November 14, 1501, at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. At the time of their wedding, Arthur was 15 years old, and Catherine was 16 years old. How long was Arthur, Prince of Wales, married to Catherine of Aragon before he died? The correct answer is 6 months. Arthur, Prince of Wales, was married to Catherine of Aragon for 6 months before he died on April 2, 1502. After Arthur's death, his younger brother Henry became the heir to the throne. With whom did Henry VII arrange a marriage for his son, Henry, after the death of Arthur? The correct answer is Catherine of Aragon. After the death of Arthur, Prince of Wales, Henry VII arranged for his second son, Henry, to marry Catherine of Aragon, Arthur's widow. This arrangement was part of maintaining the alliance with Spain and ensuring continuity of political relations. What year did Henry VIII become king? The correct answer is 1509. When Henry VII died on April 21, 1509, his 17-year-old son was immediately proclaimed King Henry VIII, marking the beginning of one of England's most famous reigns. What happened to Henry VIII's financial advisors, Sir Richard Empson and Edmund Dudley, after he became king? The correct answer is they were executed for treason. Shortly after becoming king, Henry VIII had Sir Richard Empson and Edmund Dudley arrested. They were later executed for treason as part of his efforts to distance himself from his father's unpopular financial policies. Who was crowned alongside Henry VIII at his coronation? The correct answer is Catherine of Aragon. Henry VIII married Catherine of Aragon on June 11, 1509, in a private ceremony at Greenwich Palace. They were both crowned alongside each other on June 24, 1509, at Westminster Abbey. Who was Henry VIII's chief minister in the early years of his reign? The correct answer is Thomas Wolsey. Wolsey rose to power as Henry's trusted advisor, becoming Lord Chancellor and a cardinal. What key victory did Henry achieve against the French in 1513? The correct answer is Battle of the Spurs. The Battle of the Spurs was a major English victory during Henry's campaign in France on August 16, 1513. Which Scottish king was killed at the Battle of Flodden in 1513? The correct answer is James IV. The Battle of Flodden was fought on September 9, 1513, during Henry VIII's campaign in France. James IV of Scotland died fighting the English at Flodden. Who acted as regent during his campaign in France? The correct answer is Catherine of Aragon. Catherine of Aragon served as regent in 1513 and organized the English victory at the Battle of Flodden. What was the name of the child born to Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon on February 18, 1516? The correct answer is Mary. Mary was born on February 18, 1516. Although Henry was relieved that Mary was born healthy, he was disappointed because he still did not have a male heir. Who was Henry VIII's illegitimate son with Elizabeth Blount, a lady-in-waiting to Catherine of Aragon? The correct answer is Henry Fitzroy. Henry Fitzroy, the illegitimate son of Henry VIII and Elizabeth Blount, was born around June 15, 1519. He was acknowledged by his father and given titles, despite being born out of wedlock. What grand diplomatic meeting took place between Henry VIII and Francis I in 1520? The correct answer is Field of the Cloth of Gold. The Field of Cloth of Gold was a summit meeting between Henry VIII of England and Francis I of France from June 7 to June 24, 1520. Held near Calais, it was a lavish display of wealth and power aimed at strengthening the Anglo-French alliance. Who was executed on May 17, 1521, for treason after being accused of plotting against Henry VIII? The correct answer is Edward Stafford, Duke of Buckingham. Edward Stafford, 3rd Duke of Buckingham, was executed on May 17, 1521, after being accused of treason. His execution followed suspicions that he had plotted against Henry VIII due to his royal bloodline and ambitions. What title was given to Henry VIII by Pope Leo X on October 11, 1521, for his work against Martin Luther's teachings? The correct answer is Defender of the Faith. Pope Leo X awarded the title, Defender of the Faith, to Henry VIII on October 11, 1521, in recognition of his efforts against Martin Luther's teachings and his defense of the Catholic Church. Which treaty was signed on June 19, 1522, by Henry VIII and Charles V, pledging a joint invasion of France? The correct answer is Treaty of Windsor. The Treaty of Windsor was signed on June 19, 1522, by Henry VIII and Charles V. This treaty pledged a joint invasion of France and included a marriage alliance between Princess Mary and the Emperor. What was the name of the unpopular tax imposed by Thomas Wolsey in 1525, intended to fund the war against France but later abandoned due to widespread resistance? The correct answer is amicable grant. The amicable grant was a tax imposed in 1525 by Thomas Wolsey, Henry VIII's Lord Chancellor, to fund the war against France. It faced widespread resistance and was eventually abandoned due to the financial strain it placed on the population. What was the main reason Henry VIII sought an annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon in 1527? The correct answer is no male heir. The main reason Henry VIII sought an annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon was her failure to produce a male heir. Henry was desperate for a male successor to secure the Tudor dynasty. Who was the prominent English bishop who openly challenged Henry VIII's divorce and annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, leading to his execution? The correct answer is John Fisher. John Fisher, Bishop of Rochester, openly opposed Henry VIII's divorce and annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. He refused to support the king's break with the Catholic Church and his claim to be the supreme head of the Church of England. Fisher became one of the most vocal opponents of the king's religious reforms. Which prominent statesman and advisor to Henry VIII fell from power in 1529 due to his failure to secure an annulment for the king's marriage to Catherine of Aragon? The correct answer is Thomas Wolsey. Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, Henry VIII's chief advisor, fell from power in 1529 primarily due to his failure to secure an annulment for the king's marriage to Catherine of Aragon. This marked the end of his influential political career. What legislative body began in 1529 and played a key role in reducing the power of the Pope and the Catholic Church in England? The correct answer is Reformation Parliament. The Reformation Parliament, which began in 1529, was instrumental in reducing the power of the Pope and the Catholic Church in England. It passed significant laws that laid the foundation for the English Reformation and the establishment of the Church of England with Henry VIII as its supreme head. Who was Henry VIII's second wife? The correct answer is Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn married Henry VIII on January 25, 1533, leading to the English Reformation after the annulment of his first marriage. Who was appointed as the Archbishop of Canterbury by Henry VIII in 1533 and played a key role in the English Reformation? The correct answer is Thomas Cranmer. Thomas Cranmer was appointed Archbishop of Canterbury on March 30, 1533, and played a pivotal role in supporting Henry VIII's annulment from Catherine of Aragon. Cranmer was a key figure in the English Reformation, helping to establish the Church of England and supporting the king's break with the Catholic Church. What was the name of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn's daughter? The correct answer is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, born in 1533, would later become one of England's greatest monarchs, ruling from 1558 to 1603. Which 1534 Act declared Henry VIII as the supreme head of the Church of England, marking the official separation from the Roman Catholic Church? The correct answer is Act of Supremacy. The Act of Supremacy, passed in 1534, declared Henry VIII as the supreme head of the Church of England, officially separating England from the Roman Catholic Church and marking a significant step in the English Reformation. What significant rebellion occurred in Ireland during Henry's reign? The correct answer is Kildare Rebellion. The Kildare Rebellion, 1534–35, was led by Silken Thomas against English control, resulting in increased royal authority in Ireland. Which former Lord Chancellor was executed in 1535 for refusing to recognize Henry VIII as the head of the Church of England? The correct answer is Thomas More. Thomas More, a former Lord Chancellor, was executed for treason after refusing to accept Henry's supremacy over the Church. What was the name of the comprehensive survey of the finances of the Church in England, conducted in 1535 on the orders of Henry VIII? The correct answer is Valor Ecclesiasticus. The Valor Ecclesiasticus was a comprehensive survey of the finances of the Church in England, Wales, and English-controlled parts of Ireland, conducted in 1535 on the orders of Henry VIII. It was intended to assess the wealth of the Church and identify sources of revenue. How did Anne Boleyn's marriage to Henry VIII end? The correct answer is execution. Anne Boleyn was executed on May 19, 1536, on charges of adultery, incest, and treason, which were likely fabricated. Who was Henry VIII's third wife? The correct answer is Jane Seymour. Henry VIII married Jane Seymour on May 30, 1536, just 11 days after the execution of his second wife, Anne Boleyn. What significant event, initiated by Henry VIII in 1536, involved the closure and confiscation of the wealth and lands of religious institutions in England and Wales? The correct answer is dissolution of the monasteries. From 1536 to 1541, Henry disbanded monasteries, seizing their wealth and lands to strengthen royal finances. Who was Henry VIII's chief minister during the dissolution of the monasteries? The correct answer is Thomas Cromwell. Thomas Cromwell was instrumental in managing the dissolution and consolidating royal authority. What was the name of the large-scale rebellion in northern England in 1536, which protested against Henry VIII's religious reforms and the dissolution of the monasteries? The correct answer is Pilgrimage of Grace. The Pilgrimage of Grace was a large-scale rebellion that took place in northern England in 1536. It was a protest against Henry VIII's religious reforms and the dissolution of the monasteries, reflecting widespread discontent among the population. Who was the long-awaited male heir of Henry VIII and Jane Seymour? The correct answer is Edward. Edward, born on October 12, 1537, was the long-awaited male heir of Henry VIII and Jane Seymour. What happened to Jane Seymour after the birth of Edward? The correct answer is she died of complications. Jane Seymour died on October 24, 1537, shortly after giving birth to Edward, Henry's long-awaited male heir. Which authorized edition of the Bible, first prepared in 1538 and published in 1539, was the first English translation to be officially endorsed by Henry VIII? The correct answer is Great Bible. The Great Bible, prepared in 1538 and first published in 1539, was the first English translation to be officially endorsed by Henry VIII. It was authorized for use in churches across England and played a significant role in the spread of Protestantism. Which 1539 legislation reinforced Catholic doctrines within the Church of England and imposed harsh penalties for heresy? The correct answer is the Act of 6 Articles. Passed in June 1539, the Act of 6 Articles reinforced key Catholic doctrines in the Church of England, including transubstantiation and clerical celibacy. It imposed severe penalties for those who opposed its teachings. Which of Henry VIII's wives was married to him in 1540 as part of an alliance with Protestant states, arranged by Thomas Cromwell? The correct answer is Anne of Cleves. Anne of Cleves married Henry VIII on January 6, 1540, as part of an alliance arranged by Thomas Cromwell with the Protestant states of Germany. This marriage was intended to strengthen Henry's position against Catholic France and the Holy Roman Empire. Why did Henry VIII annul his marriage to Anne of Cleves? The correct answer is lack of physical attraction. Henry annulled his marriage to Anne of Cleves on July 9, 1540, claiming he found her unattractive after meeting her in person. Which chief minister of Henry VIII fell from favor and was executed in 1540, partly due to his role in arranging the king's unsuccessful marriage to Anne of Cleves? The correct answer is Thomas Cromwell. Thomas Cromwell played a significant role in arranging the king's marriage to Anne of Cleves. The marriage was a failure and contributed to Cromwell's downfall, leading to his execution on July 28, 1540, on charges of heresy and treason. Who was Henry VIII's fifth wife? The correct answer is Catherine Howard. Catherine Howard, a cousin of Anne Boleyn, was Henry VIII's fifth wife. She married Henry on July 28, 1540, the same day Thomas Cromwell, the king's chief minister, was executed. How did Catherine Howard, Henry VIII's fifth wife, die? The correct answer is beheading. Catherine Howard was executed by beheading on February 13, 1542, for committing adultery. Her downfall followed accusations of infidelity and evidence of her past relationships before and during her marriage to the king. Which battle in 1542 saw the English forces decisively defeat the Scots, leading to the death of James V of Scotland? The correct answer is Battle of Solway Moss. The Battle of Solway Moss took place on November 24, 1542, when English forces defeated a larger Scottish army near the River Esk. The humiliating loss contributed to the death of James V shortly afterward, leaving his infant daughter, Mary, as Queen of Scotland. Who was Henry VIII's final wife? The correct answer is Catherine Parr. Catherine Parr married Henry on July 12, 1543 and outlived him, serving as a stepmother to his children. Which act, passed in 1543, restored Mary and Elizabeth to the line of succession despite their illegitimacy? The correct answer is Third Succession Act. The Third Succession Act, passed on July 12, 1543, restored Mary and Elizabeth, Henry VIII's daughters by Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, to the line of succession. Despite this, they were still legally considered illegitimate, with Edward VI remaining the primary heir. Which French city did Henry VIII capture during his 1544 campaign in France? The correct answer is Boulogne. In 1544, Henry VIII's forces captured Boulogne after a prolonged siege during his campaign in France. The city remained under English control until 1550, when it was returned to France under the terms of the Treaty of Boulogne. During which naval battle in 1545 did Henry VIII's prized warship, the Mary Rose, sink? The correct answer is Battle of the Solent. The Battle of the Solent, fought in July 1545, was a naval clash between England and France. It is most remembered for the sinking of the Mary Rose, Henry VIII's flagship, which went down during combat, likely due to strong winds and operational errors rather than enemy fire. The French invasion was ultimately repelled. Which treaty, signed in June 1546, ended the conflict between England and France that began in 1542? The correct answer is Treaty of Ardres. The Treaty of Ardres, signed on June 7, 1546, brought an end to the conflict between England and France that started in 1542. The treaty restored peace and concluded the series of battles and negotiations between the two countries. What health condition plagued Henry VIII in his later years? The correct answer is obesity and leg ulcers. Henry's obesity and leg ulcers caused significant mobility issues and affected his overall health. When did Henry VIII die? The correct answer is 1547. Henry VIII died on January 28, 1547 at Whitehall Palace in London. He was 55 years old at the time of his death. Where is Henry VIII buried? The correct answer is St. George's Chapel, Windsor. Henry VIII is buried alongside Jane Seymour in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. What major legacy did Henry VIII leave behind for England? The correct answer is establishment of the Church of England. Henry's break from the Catholic Church marked the beginning of England's religious transformation. Who succeeded Henry VIII as King of England? The correct answer is Edward VI. Edward VI, the son of Henry VIII and Jane Seymour, succeeded his father as King of England on January 28, 1547. He was only 9 years old at the time and his reign lasted until his death in 1553. Post your score in the comments. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.